project. When I was taking the vent window out, I was undoing the bolts and this thing just went to the bottom of the door. And you can tell by looking at it, it's been broken a long time. So it must have been just sitting there looking like it was together, but it had been broken for, I don't know. I don't even know what the heck and how. And away we go.
I'd like to apologize for the length of this video, but what I'm going to do is, if you need a lot of detail, then you can watch the whole thing, watch the second half, because I do the passenger side vent window with all of the detail down to the minutia. This driver's side vent window here, I'm going to do fully in time lapse. You can always stop it and look at it and whatever and see the whole process. But if you need more detail, just watch the second half of the video too. So what I'm doing here is just drilling out the rivets and knocking them out and cleaning up the parts and putting it together with new gaskets that I got from CJ Pony Parts. Not that big of a deal, really. It seems it's pretty tedious. This whole job is pretty tedious. The thing is hard to hang on to, and so it's hard to keep control of it. And when you're doing all the different tasks, I chose to do it with, like here, I've got the divider bar separate, so I can just do all the rivets real easily out there in the open. But then it might behoove you to put the divider bar and the frame together as a piece, then put the gasket in, then get the divider bar weather strip and just slide it inside of the main weather strip, and because it'll assemble that way. But then doing the rivets is hard unless you've got the tool. This project for both vent windows took several hours over 2 days. There was a lot of little stuff that had to be figured out and done. So you best just plan on it taking a while, because it's tedious. I've said that before. It's tedious. So many things have to be just so for these vent windows to turn out well.
Now my next problem is, in the whole kit to repair this thing, I didn't get rivets for this. The chrome and the actual casting and machining and chroming of this wind wing here, actually, or vent window, whatever you want to call it, really doesn't look that bad. What I ended up doing, you can just barely see it there. You can see the hole sticking out from under the screw. On this frame, this replacement frame, this hole here is in the wrong spot, or these holes are in the wrong spot. But the vent window was tilted like that. So if this is too far this way, then it rocks like that, or if this hole is too far that way, it rocks like that. But what I ended up doing was just elongating the holes on the bracket here, move the bottom pivot that way, which squared it up along, well, let's see if, I don't know if I can show it, here you go, squared it up along this divider. I'm just going to use screws to put this together. So what I went and bought was some stainless hardware, and I have to drill the hole out about 10 thousandths, and then I'm going to run the screws in there, tighten it down with nylock nuts, cut off the excess, grind the heads off, so you'll never be able to take them out again. But I don't have the rivets to do that, so I'm going hardware instead. These rivets, the heads are a lot thicker than the original ones, so I'm going to grind those off too, because indeed this channel is supposed to remain flush to the vent window divider. that little rolled edge is supposed to be right up against it all the way, and it can't do that with those rivet heads sticking up. So I'll be grinding those off too. Not enough to weaken them, but just enough to make it all fit. The only thing to pay attention to here is that this seals lay the way they're supposed to. This seal goes inside of this one on both ends, and there's a little pocket for it to go in there, and it's kind of tedious to get it inside, but once you do, see, if you look right here, you can see that this seal is going inside of that seal. Okay, once you get that organized like that and get the curl out of this one, then that little slit that would let water and air in, it's now closed. So what I want to do is just leave it like this for a while with these parts folded out. This one wants to roll under the window. So you can see now this one isn't curling so much now that when I close the window, see, it seals perfectly. This one doesn't yet though. When you open it and then reclose it, see, it catches the edge and curls under. But after it sits a while, sees a little sunshine and takes a set, then this seal will stay up like that, like it's supposed to. And there it is. And there's my little screws. I ended up drilling them out to 161 thousandths, and now I just need to take my grinder and dress these heads off. This track here being worn out, I didn't realize that, so I just ordered it today. You can see metal down inside that track. So, more parts coming.
Sparing you the noise here, just grinding them off, trying to get them down to around 35 thousandths, 30 thousandths, around in there. I can't weaken the head too much, but gotta take some of that thickness down.
It's complete. Put a little primer on these rivets that I ground the heads on because I'm grinding the galvanizing off the head, so to stop it from rusting I just painted it. What I ended up doing was I ground the heads down to 35 thousandths thick all along. So these heads were originally 60 thousandths, so I took them down to half. And of course the stainless bolts were really thick. Watertight, airtight too. This is off my passenger side. So let's just measure the heads of those see, 30 thousandths. So the heads that I left are only 5 thousandths thicker than that one, than these heads here, and 10 thousandths thicker than those. So that's not that bad considering. This is just a spring-loaded clutch. It's got nylon washers on both sides of this stationary part, so the rotating parts have spring tension. That spring is holding the vent window down, and it is providing the nylon washers under tension for friction. And it just needs enough friction. Wow, see, I'm sitting there feeling some play in it, and it's because these screws are loose. Look at that. Did not know that. I don't remember that being a problem. So if you feel that looseness in the vent window, where it's a little floppy before the friction starts, there might be just those screws loose. So at least I don't have any hard parts to replace on this one. So here we go. See, this is a washer and it's got a double D on it. so that it follows the shaft. So that is a specialty washer. Just a regular nylon washer, not that big a deal there. Another nylon washer, and then this specialty washer here, it just butts up against these pinches on the shaft, and the big part goes towards the, slants down towards the frame, and the whole point of this thing is to stop the rotation of the glass before it goes too far to do damage. So it's got to be there too. Specialty part there for a specific reason. Now you just swing it open like so. Get it supported well. It's the main problem with these, is that they're so awkward to handle. To put pressure on, to hold while you're doing something else. You almost need one hand free all the time, and every other job you do on it needs to be a one-hand job. Oops, that didn't sound good. Okay, so now you just kind of give her a little twist and push down to compress the gasket, and the glass comes right out. Not a big deal. Now all the rest of this stuff just comes apart. Now I was hoping I didn't have to mess with these again. I may, but I'm hoping I don't. I'm hoping that I can just undo the screw up here. See, there's a little screw right here. Undo that, and that will allow me enough leeway, I hope so anyway, that I can pull it off to the side to drill the rivets out. You know, I can just pull it like over to the side like this, and then I can get down in there with my drill and drill these out. But I am going to put some tape along the side right here so that I don't scratch the frame, because there is a bit of tension. Now this seal here, in order to replace this seal, I think I do have to take this off, because this seal slides in on the end. It slides in this way. And I don't know if I can get everything in place. Maybe I can though. Maybe I can just go ahead and pull that out and replace it like so. And then it just slides out, actually like that. Just a point of order, these clips are a lot better. The clips that come on the new seal are just a stamped metal clip, so they bend and then stay bent. These are actually made out of spring steel, so they hold their shape. So now all I got to do is drill these here rivets out. And the drill will catch the head and start spinning the rivet, and it doesn't drill anymore. So you just use a drill bit that's slightly larger so it'll take the head off. It's slightly larger than the shank of the rivet, and then you drill it this way. So as it is spinning, the rivet is also spinning around, but it's also chewing the head off. And eventually it'll just pop the head off even though the rivet is spinning. Anyway, that's just a little trick, hack. I guess they call them hacks now. I guess they've called me a hack. So I have just a regular punch here that I took my die grinder and ground a little cup in it so it holds the rivet in place without messing up. Then I take a punch. First I start with a center punch, and I just flare the rivet out like so. Just don't do it so much that the top of the rivet splits, but enough that it flares it out. This punch here just fits inside the recess in the gasket. Okay, so now what I want to do is just hold it as I was doing before. See, I can hold the frame and the punch at the same time. Yes, I know it's just a bit tedious, but it works. sorry about that. It's just, you know, it's tough doing this with you guys hanging out there, you know, crowding me, as it were. Okay, same problem. I have to hold the frame and the punch at the same time. And keep it level and square. I'm going to have to spin it around the other way, and you're not going to be able to see because I need to hold it this way. And as always, they make a special tool for this, but I don't have it. And you know, it might slide in easier if I used a little window cleaner or something like that. Okay, so now this part right here, see, here is the part right there. That little part right there is supposed to go inside of that. And normally you can do that real easily when you're just sliding it together, but even then you find yourself fighting it after the fact. It'll fall out and you end up doing what I'm doing right now, which is just working it in using my screwdriver and sliding it over the gasket here. Parts of this job are so tedious. Okay, I've got that part in. Now I got to get the other side in. Let's just see if I can do this. Because if I do, I can get this other side in without pulling the front out now. Once again, we just stick the window in there like this, all the way down, and then I'm just compressing the gasket, which is a little more robust now. And then we'll see how the gasket looks. See, same problem. This gasket has been curling so much that it doesn't want to go the right way when the window closes. But I just have to correct that. Okay, before I go any further, let's get the mechanism back together, the clutch. I guess it could be a clutch and a retainer. Oh, I got it the wrong way, don't I? First thing out of the chute, Don, do something stupid. There. So it's the tightest way there. So then that goes on. And you can see where the nylon is rubbing there. So that goes on. Then we have the nylon again. Then the double D washer, steel. The spring, of which you'll see one side is kind of cruddy. That's the side the nut goes on. The side that looks like it's been sitting on the washer, well, that's the side we'll put there. And then there's the nut. And we're not going to tighten this until we get this in place right here. I was replacing the frame on the driver's side, and this upper hole was in the wrong spot, which made me have to elongate the holes on this bracket in order to get that to work right and get the window to not bind up. Okay, now let's see what it looks like. So what I'm looking for is, when it's closed, the glass is parallel to the gasket all the way up and down. Yep, and that is the way it is. So, friction feels good. Now for the gasket. You can hear how it's not hitting exactly right. And that is right here, see, because it's been in the box and curled. And then on this side, this little spot right up here, just set that out like that, so that everything is in place the proper way. Close it, and now you see it's sealed up good. There's no air leak or water leak at the top. And this gasket is in the right place. That's in the right place. This is in the right place. You can see it's not tight in this corner. And when I pull that corner tight, it pulls this corner out. So it's not an exact perfect fit. Well, it doesn't surprise me. See that already helped that. It almost did it the right way the first time. This one almost as well. This overlap up here should look like that. See that? How that overlaps? Right there. That's the way that's supposed to look. This, of course, isn't overlapping properly. This isn't either. But all that will, after it sits a while, there. So, leave it closed for a while. The one I did yesterday, the gaskets are already sitting how they belong. You can see, though, it's just a really nice seal, just like the factory there. And one last thing, I'm going to tighten this up just a little bit more. Give it a little more friction. Remember, this thing has to, yeah, that feels better. Wow, see, it almost did it perfect that time. Okay. And there it is, completed unit. And I didn't have to knock those rivets loose. Now, once again, I will go ahead and grind these rivets off. Final step is to drill out this little rivet right here. See, this is a perfect example of the rivet spinning. That should be enough. I'm just going to try to drive it out of there. Where is my little punch? Yep. Okay. Right hand. Yep, there's a right hand and a left hand, of course. Well, as soon as I get this bag open enough to get it out of there, yeah, there's the rivet, see? Yay! So, same story. We have a cupped end. Unfortunately, it's going into a countersink. Now, this is the way the original rivet was too. I don't know why they didn't use a countersunk rivet. They obviously had intended that from the beginning. And you can really see the difference between these two seals. This one here is just all gone. And this is important. There's a little crack right at the top when your window comes up and seals with the weather strip along the roof rail there. And this little thing fills the little hole, so, well, back in the day, if you went through a car wash or you're washing your car or a fairly bad rainstorm, water would just come right in and run down the window, which of course mine has been doing for a long time. Same process on the rivets, and it's a little more difficult to hold the whole thing square. There. Riveted in. Yay. Everything's tight, everything's good. Looks great. Perfect. I'm gonna wait till the furnace is off to do this. Fini. Thanks for watching Don's Manufactory, and I'll catch you later.